All right, so raise your hand if you've ever felt like something important was left out of your education. Something that could have helped you more in life, not just in school. Well, if so, you're definitely not alone. And it's not really a surprise because it turns out that most schools fail to teach real life skills. Okay, quick side note, I recognize that there are technically many kinds of schools you can choose from, but 90% of students in North America go through the public school system. And it's very well documented that the modern education system, it's struggling to prepare students for the demands of the 21st century. Be this the rapidly changing landscape of work or society. I mean, there is a mental health crisis facing teenagers today. We really need to do better, and we absolutely can. So please, strap yourself in because in the next few minutes, we're going to cover a lot of ground. Now, each key point, each step in our path is like stepping from mountaintop to mountaintop because each of these topics, each of these issues are complex and they're vast. Now, should you want to dig deeper, below you're gonna find some links to some of the original content. Look, I recognize that many of these are hot topics. I mean, some of these have been debated for decades. Personally, I'm not a historian, and I really don't want to spend more time just talking. So what do you say we get to the how do we make things better part faster? I mean, bottom line, we're here now, and we could be doing so much better. So what do you say we go mountain hopping and then get to the good stuff? So one of the major inescapable challenges is that our world is becoming increasingly VUCA, right? Volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. And our human brains that evolved to meet a very different challenges in survival, they're not exactly equipped to navigate this new landscape. And studies suggest that our cognitive biases are more suited for life 50,000 years ago, leaving many of us ill-prepared for the modern world. Now, one of the major obstacles is the how, right? The outdated and ineffective teaching methodologies used in most schools. We're talking rote memorization, passive learning, and standardized tests. These are no longer sufficient to prepare students for the demands of the 21st century. Students today need to develop skills like increased self-awareness, resilience, adaptability, creativity, critical thinking, and problem solving. And we know there are better ways for the brain to learn. Now, over the past few decades, the system has become overly focused on teaching efficiency, not learning effectiveness. A very big difference with huge negative consequences for both the students and society. We need to shift from this 19th century factory mindset to how the brain actually learns powerfully. The human brain thrives on learning experiences that are personally relevant, that promote engagement, deep learning, and plays to a student's strengths. Now, in addition to the how is the what, right? The curriculum. The content taught in schools today, it's disconnected from the real needs of the individual, the workplace, and society. I mean, there's very little debate about the existence of a skills gap, right? The system is struggling. It would be negligent to ignore the link between this education gap and mental health, especially for teenagers today. I mean, schools are aware of the mental health crisis facing teenagers. The system needs to cover more than academics. I mean, with AI right around the corner, we need a system that empowers students to reach their full potential as individuals and valued members of their community. Okay, without question, the numerous challenges facing the education system are very well known. I mean, some have been discussed for decades, and they're all significant. From underfunding to overburdened teachers, there are so many. All make it difficult to provide the quality education our kids need and deserve. But let me give you some good news. We know what real-life skills empower children to thrive, and research shows very clearly actionable and attainable steps to how the brain actually learns better, right? We have the what and the how, and it's time to apply these insights to the way that we educate our children. One of my favorite quotes, "You never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete." Buckminster Fuller. And this is where the fulfillment source code comes in. Our nonprofit's mission is to empower kids with real-life skills to thrive, not just in school, but in all areas of life. And we've created a real-life skills adventure, right? The content is curated from Nobel Prize winners and some of the world's brightest minds. We're talking professors from Harvard, Stanford, and more. It contains the latest in neurology, biology, psychology, nutrition, and genetics. And it's all delivered in a revolutionary, brain-based, powerful learning format we call the adventure format. The FSC is so effective because it's designed for the human brain. Like, we don't focus on teaching, we empower local guides to focus on facilitating the adventurer's experience. And this is all done according to how the human brain naturally learns, right? Progressing from ignorance to awareness, awareness to competency, and competency to mastery. We leverage the brain's natural tendencies and desires of both the adventurers and the guides, right? The FSC's Adventure, it's designed to be enjoyable, engaging, and effective for the students. Plus, it's super easy to onboard, super simple to deliver, and it's actually fun for the facilitators too. But don't take my word for it. Let the kids tell you. Okay, how about I just share with you how easily this brain-based, powerful learning adventure can equip schools, teachers, and parents, and therefore the students, with the real-life skills they need to succeed in the 21st century and beyond. This is going to be a grand adventure. I hope you join us on this fulfillment revolution. Okay, time to share exactly how the FSC's Adventure format is going to change the game for students worldwide. Let me just take a moment to share with you how we got here, because it started off very, very strong, and then it was followed by many years of painful iterations to finally discover a way to share this experience with everyone effectively. So after delivering the in-person fulfillment source code class multiple times and having parents repeatedly ask if I could teach the class to them, it became painfully clear that even if I taught the FSC every day for the rest of my life, it would barely scratch the surface. And that really began our own little adventures toward how might we create a means to scale this FSC experience. And back then, scalable was our starting point. I mean, books are scalable, but we found out very quickly that few people actually read, and even fewer parents actively read with their children, which again, it's perfectly natural if you give a child a storybook to read on their own, but skills acquisition, well, that's a different story altogether. I mean, imagine trying to learn to play the piano or martial arts from just reading a book, right? Now, after books came videos. Now, videos are also scalable and much easier than a book to complete, but they're also usually passively watched. And given FOMO, most people unconsciously want to get through as many videos as quickly as they can. I mean, it's not very conducive for acquiring skills. So then came game-like apps, and they're also scalable and they're also more engaging, but they too were very much like a race to get to that next thing. I mean, the brain wants those dopamine hits, right? Now, all of these experiences over the years, they helped us discover the most important component that was missing, plus actually a means to bridge a gap that we thought might be impossible to overcome. Now, over the years of trying all these various scalable formats, our new definition of scalable expanded to include 6 aspects, right? Okay, it must be engaging, effective, and enjoyable for the students, and it had to be super easy to onboard, super easy to deliver or implement, as well as being enjoyable for the facilitators. And yes, enjoyable counts twice. So without further ado, let me introduce to you the FSC's Adventure format. And it was inspired by the real magic of role-playing games like Dungeons and Dragons. Now, whether you are old enough to have played it as a kid, or you've only seen it played on shows like Stranger Things or The Big Bang Theory, you've probably heard of a game called Dungeons and Dragons. It was popular before smartphones, it was popular before Pokemon, and even before personal computers. It's a game played with a group and mostly in your mind, right? It relies on storytelling, imagination, and working together on a communal goal with many challenges in your path. There are 3 key components to a game like Dungeons and Dragons. There's the campaign, the game master, the GM, and then the players. Now, the campaign, it's usually a booklet, right? Bought off the shelf that contains the basic details of the quest, right? It provides the structure and shared with the players, read by the GM. Now, the GM is the one who reads the campaign beforehand and then guides the players through their adventure, right? The GM answers any questions that the players may have, but doesn't actually play themselves, right? The GM's role is to facilitate the adventure for the players. Now, finally, we've got the players themselves. They join the quest, knowing simply it's up to them to work together, deal with the setbacks, and face the challenges together. Studies show that the brain loves stories, right? The brain loves to be a valued member of a group, and the brain was built to solve problems that are interesting and personally relevant. The real magic of games like Dungeons and Dragons, it's not what's written in the campaign. It's not the dungeons or the dragons. It's not even the GM who weaves the players into the story, but it's the active participation the players choose to have with each other, right? Active participation is critical, and it needs facilitation. I mean, seriously, if simply watching videos was enough to attain expertise, I'd have learned martial arts watching black belt theater as a kid. Now, luckily, with today's technology, even more interactive, engaging content can be scaled. So a large portion of the GM storytelling can actually be embedded in videos and given prompts for interaction as well. Like, we have designed our adventures so that 95% of the work, it's already done. We left the fun part for the local facilitators. I mean, no one needs to become a professor of neurology to help a tween learn about neuroplasticity. With the right attitude, FSC facilitation just needs a little bit of training and preparation. And we've designed this so that with a little bit of coaching, some practice, and the FSC guidebooks, even passionate high school students can facilitate some magic. Okay, so now is your chance to choose your own adventure. Do you want to see how to become a facilitator, or would you like to see the roadmap to how the FSC is going to scale to empower tweens everywhere with the real life skills they need to succeed?